And one item we have to talk about before we leave today is the issue of inspecting, giving the City of Niagara Falls the right and the legal authority to inspect properties that are used for housing units that receive vouchers from social services. And the reason the county is involved is because the county actually, is in charge of social services. So we need the support of the County of Niagara to support this effort for the City of Niagara Falls when it comes to housing issues, so that our inspectors have the ability to look at these properties, because right now they have no authority whatsoever to go on any property unless the person that lives there, the tenant, invites them in. Well, once they do that, what happens is the landlord puts a lot of pressure on the tenant. So a lot of housing units are falling apart without the opportunity of the city inspecting them. So if they receive social services vouchers for rental units, the City of Niagara Falls should have the authority to inspect these units at least once a year. And the reason I support this, and I think it's an easy thing to do, is because we already do that with the federal program, the Section 8 program. We have inspectors in the City of Niagara Falls. As a matter of fact, I just learned recently that they actually inspect properties all over the county that are associated with Section 8 program. So again, I think we need the support of the county, and I think some county legislators misunderstood the involvement of the county. It's not going to cost the county any money. I explained that to legislator Up the Grove when he came on the show. After the show, I explained to him what the issue was, and he seemed supportive of it. Although I haven't been able to communicate this with other legislators, and I wish we could get some support for that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this issue at all. I remember reading about it in the newspaper. The city cannot inspect houses in the city of Niagara Falls that are vouchered through social services, where the rent is vouchered?
We don't have the authority to do that unless we're invited in. But what this would cause is, I know it, you kind of scratch
strange,
it.
yeah.
Doesn't it seem strange?
You would think that they'd be able to inspect any house in the city of Niagara Falls.
Well, no.
So in other words, if you have a house, if you have an apartment house that the tenants are receiving social service benefits, that house is exempt from the inspection.
No, not that it's there's no authority by the city to inspect that property. The city doesn't have the authority to just walk in. What the law would do is give the city the authority that as long as they're receiving vouchers from the county for social services, that once a year, the city inspector could check that property.
Now, this was before the legislature, about a year ago, wasn't it?
No, the county won't support the city of Niagara Falls.
I'm saying, but the proposal was before the legislature, wasn't it?
It might have been, I'm not sure. All I know, it didn't get very far because we needed the support of the county.
What was their objection?
But that's my point, Senator. Maybe you can explain it to them, because I've been trying to explain it to them, and I can't get them to even make a comment on what their issue is. They won't even answer on what their issue is. The only thing I've heard was that it's going to cost the county money, and that's not true. It's misinformation to keep this idea from being supported, and I'm asking you to
I know
help.
A couple of years ago, there was the proposal to have direct payment. I realize it's a different topic.
That took care of it,
and that took care of it. I've heard, to be honest with you, I've heard both ways that program is successful, and I've heard that it's not successful.
No, because you're right, because there's always an issue with, no matter how good you try to make a law, there's always somebody that tries to scam it, okay? So that's true, but that requires the enforcement part, okay? And the enforcement part would be made a lot easier if our inspectors could go in there and inspect the property. To me,
I guess you're going to have to give me more time to look into that.
Oh, no, I
really don't know much about that issue.
I just wanted you to know that this is an issue very dear to the hearts of the city of Niagara Falls, and to addressing some of the housing issues, and I don't understand why the county legislators...
Has the mayor addressed it with them?
Our legislators that represent Niagara Falls have addressed it with them, and they won't even entertain a public discussion about it. So I'm just asking, I'm asking as a constituent and somebody that loves the city of Niagara Falls, I'm asking my senator to say, can you look into this?